Hello and welcome again, listeners. I have got a very lovely special guest for you today. Her name is Annette Lakovic. Welcome, Annette.
Hello, so good to be here.
Oh, it's lovely to have you here. And listeners, this is why I'm so excited for you. Annette is the guru. She is Australia's leading female sales trainer. She is the guru with everything to do with sales. Now, don't get scared off, people, all right? Because sales is really very important for our small businesses and entrepreneurs there, online, bricks and mortar, both. It really is around a headset and therefore also what you do about it. So Annette's going to take that away shortly on all her tips and advice around that. But let me just tell you a little bit more about Annette. So she's the founder of Sales International, a sales strategist, a consultant, an entrepreneur, a speaker, and a thought leader with everything to do with sales, positive psychology and neuroscience, and human high performance. She's worked with in various different spaces as far as with being different industries, but also corporates as well as entrepreneurs. So she's worked with national and international organisations such as Fernwood, LexisNexis, GHD, Fitness Australia, AMF Bowling, Bras and Things. And so I can honestly say, you know, having had a retail background and a couple of lifetimes ago for myself, I was always really impressed with the customer service and the sales that a lot of these organisations have had. So Annette, it's all about you. It's your representation. I was going to say fault, but it's not fault. It's because of you, Annette.
Well, it didn't start off that way. I was so resistant to selling, really resistant. So I don't know how many women are actually on here now listening that they've got into business because they love what they do, they're passionate what they do, and there's more women opening businesses now than ever before.
Yes.
But we get into business because we are really passionate normally about what we love, what we've been sold maybe about that product or service and why we love it. And then we want to teach it or share it with somebody else. So it can be either a product or a service. It doesn't matter, but normally women go into it because they're so passionate about it. But pretty quickly we find out that we need to learn how to sell. And that's one thing that I noticed, that if we think that sales is a slimy word and a scary word, we're scared we're going to break rapport with our customer. We're scared that we're going to, either lose the sale, look pushy, come across wrong. So I noticed that women do the complete opposite and they don't sell. And it's really, it's sad to see, and it's such an easy fix. But I actually hated selling because I was taught a really hardcore type of selling, really heavy scripting, lack of integrity to customers. And that's what I thought selling was about, until I actually learned more about the psychology of why people buy. And then, that sort of changed everything for me. I just became just sort of like really wanted to beat my drum just so people really learnt a more ethical way to sell, which, is definitely aligned with women. But, we have so many men now, part of the Sales Institute, our Convert Club. It's, everybody, I think, is nowadays the old school, pushy, hardcore car salesman type of selling. It's gone. It's not about that anymore.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yes, exactly. Gosh, I've done all sorts of different sorts of job roles in the past just because for fun. I've even done a bit of telesales just to see what it's like and a bit of fun. Oh my goodness. And, when they ring up every now and then, I start giggling and then I realize, oh gosh, and I said, look, I'm so sorry, but I think you're doing a really good job. Now I think you need to just steer me this way, or you could steer me. And I start doing that. I go, oh, you poor thing.
Yeah, look, a lot of people say to me, you hate when someone sells to you. And I said, I actually love it when it's a skilled person that's truly there for my needs. And they're truly doing what they're meant to do. My husband and I were looking for a house at the moment. We've moved to Perth, and I don't know how many real estate agents we've seen, and only one has actually taken the time to find out, what do we need, what size house, what area, and then organize to off the marketplaces. Now that's their job. They're meant to sell. But none of them actually taken the time to do that. So it's really interesting that I appreciate a great salesperson, but more for me, and I have to be totally transparent here, I actually hate the word sales. I actually love what it's about though. And what it's about truly is helping somebody that has a problem or a need or a desire, and the other person, the business owner, has a product or service that's the answer to that person's dream. And if we could have a name that didn't have the stigma attached to it, such as sales, it'd be such a better place. For me, it's like, how do you create that transformation or inspiration, or how can you inspire someone? That's for me, it's like, really, if I can just teach people really what it's about, it's two people helping connect the dots. You've got the buyer and you've got the seller. And if you have that conversation where it's like, what is it that you truly need? And if you have the integrity and you know that your product is right or not right, that's where we speak up. That's where we say, great, and we've got permission to move on. The biggest mistake I'd probably say that creates resistance when it comes to selling, I'd probably say this is the biggest thing, and it's the one thing that I hate, is a person starts talking about their product or service before they've got permission to, before they've got that prospect, that potential customer, that potential client's challenges, needs, concerns, and they start already talking about a product. So if we were to walk into a shop where our resistance is high, we call this customer resistance, that buyer's resistance is high. We walk in because we think they're going to try and talk to us about a product or service that we don't need. So the most common thing we say is, no, I'm just looking, thanks. So our resistance is really high. And it's how do we have that conversation to reduce that resistance, to have a beautiful open conversation, to then get permission to talk about the product. But most people talk about the product before they even know what the person's needs are, challenges are, what they're after.
It's very much around relationships, you know, and it's creating a bit of a rapport, and to see, and it's a problem solution finding for people's problems, because if you might have this particular product or service, or you might also have this particular product and service, and people keep coming back, and if you've got a great relationship, they'll recommend other people there, and it doesn't actually have to feel like a sales. And the amount of times that I've tried with other people, you know, in higher sort of positions, and have said, no, it's got to be done this way. And it's like, can't you see though, the ROI on what you're doing is not that high. And if you tried it this way, and even when I've proven it to them and small test and measure, and the ROI is much better that way, but it's because that it means that a lot of other things have to change in and around it, as far as operations, as far as trainings. They find it sometimes a bit too difficult. But really...
And isn't that the beauty though? If we've got female entrepreneurs on here, we are so lucky that we can change our business within an instant.
That's right.
Where you and I've worked with big corporations, and it takes a truckload to be able to have to change something that we know that is right, that we know it's better for the business, but it takes them 6 months to change, where we can change on, you know, a turn of the dime, just straight away. And that's the beautiful thing. As soon as like a woman just starts to go, wow, I realize I can do what's called the switch technique, which is, and you're talking about rapport. There's one customer that will be resistant to you, more resistant if you try and build lots of rapport. So we've got this gift today that we're giving the audience, which is the Sales DNA. And the Sales DNA actually talks about the different types of customers and your type of selling, how you sell, and how it responds, reacts, or gels, connects with different types of customers. So and it's quite interesting, because you're right, it's all relationship building. And once you actually have a customer or a client, and you have got that beautiful trust happening, and you've got the results, or the service delivers what they say, what the promise is, you have got the relationship there, and you've got a customer for life and a referral.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. I have, or reputation. Sorry, I have seen those, those huge businesses as well as the small businesses, either implode from their systems that have not been there to support them or each the
Yep.
journey of a customer or client, and
Mm-hmm.
or the fact is reputation overnight. So and especially now that we're okay, sure, we're in a digital age, and thank goodness we are, because we can change it quite easily and quickly. On the same token, social media, reputation, relationships,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is where a lot of
Yeah.
people are going to be
And
very
the sad
tested.
thing is, yes, yeah, yeah. And I was saying this probably about a year and a half ago to a girlfriend of mine. She's a very skilled teacher, primary school teacher, now getting into teaching online. And she was saying about all these amazing websites and all these amazing looking things out there. And I said, don't worry, it will come out in the wash very soon, the skilled to the unskilled. Because you can put something up on the internet and you can look incredible. But it's not until you have that conversation where your skill set, your 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is that you've had, your experience that you bring along is what separates you and makes you different. And if we go back to when I talk about the communication, that is one thing that we're born with as women.
Yeah.
We are great communicators.
Yep.
That's one of our strengths. It's how do we communicate in a way that also doesn't undersell, because I think a lot of women undersell because they're so scared of looking salesy. They will then undersell their products and services, and they normally walk away at the end of that conversation, that sales meeting. They've made a great friend, but they didn't make a client.
Yep.
So normally what we need is just like not so much structure, because I find that we are so gifted in our communication and we're so great at being able to create that rapport. But it's been able to have some structure to know these are the steps.
Yep.
What you do in between those steps and how do you go to A, B, C, and D. That's up to you. That's up your authenticity. For me, I'm not big on heavy scripting because I feel like it loses that authenticity. But if we work with a model and go, this is the first part, this is what it's about, this is what the second part's about, these are some of the things you can ask in your way. Let's practice that. And if they have those models, they can then showcase their amazing ability. They can showcase their qualification. They can showcase what their business or product or service does and keep that rapport. So at the end of it, they do walk away with a client and also a friend. Not
exactly.
just a friend. Yeah.
I think some people get a little bit sort of sometimes a bit confused, but also a lack of confidence as far as where is the line drawn, as far as where is it a friendship and where is it a professional friendship, and where professional in here. And some of us that are like a little bit more of the cards on the table, like myself, it's a little bit easier, but then others who find that hard to do or to be upfront, one can feel uncomfortable with it, or two, that if that's the person on the other end and that they're feeling uncomfortable, well, hold on, you're putting all your cards on the table, but I don't normally do this way. What would be some of your advice around that?
Yeah, look, you've got 4 different behavior styles. And when I say this, it's not putting anybody in a box, because we all represent all of them at a certain time. And this comes back to the oldest behavioral model out there, which is Dusk. And Dusk stands for, D is the dominant behavior style. They want things now. They want the information fast. Their barrier, their buyer's resistance barrier is quite high. Because they like to be in control. So that's the person that might jump on the phone and get to the question really quickly. How much is it? I don't have time. I've only got 5 minutes. And they'll cut you off. And their whole idea is to gain control, because they don't want to be sold to. And let's just face it, no one likes to be sold to, right? But we love to buy. We do love to buy. Every single one of us loves to buy. There's chemical reactions that happen. There's beautiful neurotransmitters that happen. We feel incredible. Though that D behavior style, we need to be able to work out within the first couple of, probably the first 30 seconds to 2 minutes, what that person's behavior style is. And there's different things that you can look at: how fast they talk. And this is a good one for everyone to know. The faster the person talks, the faster the decision making. Now, I'm a fast talker.
Yes.
I'm a fast decision maker.
Yes.
So straight away, if you've got someone that's very slow and reserved, that person normally hides their cards close to their chest. They seem calmer on the surface, but really their little legs are like a duck, under the water. They're sort of swimming away. But it's some questions you can ask is, are they slower or are they faster? What's the energy around them right now? Is the person that's more of an extrovert or an introvert? Because that straight away will tell you what their time sort is. Now, time sort is how long does it take for that person generally to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you've got a product that you think you can sell in one meeting, there's going to be some people there that it's not going to take that meeting. You'll need to book in for a follow-up call, answer their questions. They'll like to confer. There's another behavior style. It's called the I behavior style. I is the interactor. It's the people person. It's the socializer. High energy, really magnetic, very animated when they talk. They've got lots of variation in their voice. People person. That person's like, I'm a people person. I'm a people person. They love rapport. They want to have that conversation, and they want to like the person that they buy from. And that person's the one that's you can't miss them when they walk into that room or when they're on that phone, because they've got that energy behind them. Again, they're a bit faster. Mm-hmm. Faster means faster decision making. Mm-hmm. Then you've got ones that are more reserved. So you've got the S, which is the steady relator. They like to be able to relate to that person. So it's about you being able to share just a little bit about yourself. And you were saying there's a fine line, what's personal and what's, professional. For me, I don't even know what's professional anymore, really. It's what's human to human, and what's tasteful, and what's that trust level. What can you do that you're happy to share and you can feel comfortable with it and keep that integrity for yourself. But that behavior style, they need a little bit about you to share a bit about them. And they are slower and they love opinions. So if you've got someone that's slower, they're a warm behavior style. They're still a people person, but they're slower in pace, slower in the way that they speak. That person needs testimonials. That person needs to talk about some client stories, like, oh, I had one client like this and one client like that. And if you are sharing about your clients, make sure you're allowed to share. Yeah. Otherwise, you might say, look, I actually had someone that had something like this, and this is what happened with them. And then your fourth behavior style, which is about 8% of Western countries, Western worlds, it's about 8%, and that's the C behavior style. Very conservative, very reserved, very formal. This person normally has a very blank face, but normally has the thinking brown, that hiver that hovers around that brow. So it's a brow hover there. It's like you can see that they're thinking, and that person is very methodical. They're accurate. They're perfectionists. They've already sussed you out before they've sent an inquiry on social media, before they've rang, before they've put an email inquiry in. They have looked at everything and probably know more about what's on your website than you remember. That person, again, it's very distrusting. They don't trust straight away, and they're very doubtful. So if you try to win them over with lots of rapport, let's just say if you're that I behavior style, that I behavior style will try and win people with their pizzazz and the rapport, where they've just got to pull the reins back and GTWTW, give them what they want. Mm-hmm. Talk about their needs first, talk about the service, and then you can loop around with a little bit of rapport. You drip feed the rapport in. So there's 4 different styles, but I'd probably say the quickest thing for you to acknowledge, if you're on the phone, if you're looking at an email, how much information have they given you? Mm-hmm. Are they extroverted? Are they giving you lots? Are they introverted? Is it very simple? Is it straight to the point and dominant? Now, it's hard to read emails because some emails, everyone sounds dominant and straight to the point. When you're talking to them on that phone or face-to-face or on Zoom, that's the next thing. how they're coming across. They smile lights, do they have strong energy, medium energy, are they relaxed, are they fast? And then you know really about where you should be able to go in that direction. Do you need to spend more time on rapport? Do you need to spend more time in needs and wants and results, and then loop back? So we do have the sales DNA, which we'll give to the audience, because I think that will be perfect for them today.
Yeah, that'll be lovely. Thank you so much.
What gift I've got. And I was like, I've got a few gifts, but let's just see
exactly.
what fits right. And I think that fits. I think that feels really right with where we're going today. Because what they can do is they can type in a questionnaire, and they can find out what their behavior style is and what their selling style is. Yeah, so they'll get a little downloadable for that.
Because then that way they can recognize it in others, so that when they're having that conversation with that other person, and I think, it's a little bit easier really, when we're face to face with people, because, but that's been taken away from us. And then on the phone, it's that little bit less, but there's not as much opportunity for people to have conversations with people that way these days when sales are going on. And there is a whole lot more transactions happening, very automated online. So how could that help business owners with their sort of more automated processes?
Yeah. And first thing I just want to say, we have more people now more susceptible to actually doing Zoom meetings and phone calls because of the lack of people contact. There is, now we'll answer your question, I'm going to loop around to that. There is one thing that's happening now a lot though, is the objections coming up. Can you send it through to me? Yeah. So that objection's coming up. So even if we're doing, say, a Zoom meeting call now, and when, let's just say, if I go to invite you to the next step, which might be continuing on with a program or learning more, and you might go, great, let's send me the information. So that objection's coming up. So what we want to make sure that we do is we book a time to walk through that information with them. Because normally when you're face to face with that person, it's easy to pull out what it is that you want to show them. So that's just one little objection that's coming up. But when you are, just say if you're writing an email and you do not know what that behavior style is, the two behavior styles that you sit at is an I and an S. The interacting social, which is a people person, but the S is more methodical. They're a bit more detailed. You don't want to have like this massive email that someone has to read, because straight away you're cutting out 18%, which is your D behavior styles. But the majority of behavior styles in Western world is your I and your S behavior styles. So it's safer to start there. The other thing is how quickly you can get them onto a phone call. Now, most people are scared of being sold to, as we understand there's this resistance quite high. Whenever you're inviting someone for that phone call or for that meeting, the Zoom meeting, you want to make sure that you're starting off with your first one or two lines. What's in it for me? The whiff and factor, but for the customer. What's in it for you? Because straight away, if the person isn't a reader, I'm not a reader. I'm a scanner. I like bullet points. So my I and my D are quite high. It's like, what's fast to read? Scan it. That first line, it's a bit like a comedian. A comedian has to keep your attention every 30 seconds. Boom, boom, boom. They're going to make you laugh every 30 seconds, normally 15 to 30 seconds. With an email or copy, it's always like, what's the first line? How can you get that first line to make them hungry to read that next line? And with that opening of your email, you want to make sure in your first two sentences, it has the whiff in it. What's in it for me, but not you as the business owner. It's for the person that's reading it. Yeah.
I often say, what with the thumb? What's in it for them? What's in it for them? What's in it for them?
I like that. I'm going to use that from now on. Thanks, Sonia.
It's Sonia's. You can use it, but you say, it's Sonia.
I just heard this from Sonia. I always say, with them.
With the thumb. With the thumb.
With them.
And it's fun to say, with the thumb.
I love that. What's
in it for them? What's in it for them?
Thank you.
Because I I created that because when, years of, training lots of different people at different times, but some of the young people that I was training, it was like, how can I hit them over the head with this instead of the with them? Okay, with the thumb. And every time
they just say,
past me, I have to pull the face with it.
I love that. And, that just says what I just said, with what's in it for them, but what's in it for me, but them, like it's with them for them. So that just saves everything.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
You just cut out like about 20 words for me.
So I know where you come from too. It's so funny. And then, and I was thinking with what you were saying that people could take that one step further and put that onto their websites, because the websites, it's been said that it's around 3 seconds to get their attention. Oh my gosh. It's like when I was taught, again, about 4 lives back, when I used to do competitive dancing, and it was the first 3 seconds you stepped on the stage. If you didn't get the judges' attention then.
What dancing was that?
Calisthenics, predominantly. That was the competition one, as well as ballet. It's a bit more of
calisthenics. What's that?
Calisthenics is more Victorian, South Australia. That it's a combination of lots of sports. So they actually break it up into 7 different fragments that you compete in. So you've got precision marching, you've got song and dance. So that's like Broadway stuff. You've got aesthetics, which is like ballet, and it's the soft and graceful. You've got aesthetic exercises, which is like contortion, gymnastics stuff. You've got baton twirling, precision baton twirling in and around doing the exercises. It's
and you would do all of them. You'd compete in all of them.
All of it.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, like I said, I was skinny and very competitive, self-competitive, not really against others. And I just loved it because it had so much in it. I just loved it. I think that's where my youngest son gets his ADHD from.
Yeah. You're the variety.
Like their kids. But sales, with all of this, what's in it for them, with the whole concept around the conversations that we have, whether we're actually having a conversation or whether it's a conversation that's going on in the customer's head. Could you give us, because I thought you'd be the expert with us, what about those conversations that are going on in the customer's head? Could you give us advice around that?
Okay. So if you think about this is something that we've coined, which is called green brain. So green brain versus red brain.
Okay.
Touching on what you've just said about the website.
Yes.
Everything that you need to do when it comes to copy is green brain, and green brain is anything to do with the emotional outcome. So let's just say with dancing, I love dancing because it puts me in the feminine. It makes me feel sexy. It makes me feel really confident. I feel happy, right? That's the emotion. What's the benefits? The benefits, I like to dance because it's fitness. It's exercise. It makes me lose weight. I burn calories, right? So it's what's the benefit or the outcome? So let's just say if we're doing business coaching, it's how does it make them feel? Maybe supportive, secure, finally a sounding board, relieved. What's the benefit? They're going to help grow their sales. They'll get structure. What's the outcome of that? They get to be more revenue, get out there and do more what they love. So it's like, how do you put more of the green brain in? Because a lot of people on their website like to talk about, and not just websites, face-to-face selling, telephone, whatever it is. They like to talk about the features. And the features, we're really with the features. We talk about what our product is, how many times you have to use it, what type of results you see. Oh, sorry, let's give the results because that's more green brain. How long you have to use it for before you're seeing the results. So let's just say if it was back to business coaching, it would be you've got one session once a week for 1 hour. It's on Zoom. If you can't make Zoom, we can do the telephone. We can record it though. It's all the features, all the red brain stuff. That's not the reason why they're buying the product. They're buying the product because of the green brain. So when we write any type of copy, anything that we're responding to, if we're responding to social media responses, because I get a lot of inquiries through social media now, like I'll get more through that than email. And it's how do we respond? We meeting that level of excitement and really finding out what is important to them, what's going on, and getting into the green brain mode. It's always about outcome, benefits, anything to do with the effect of your product and service, not the what. So there's a very old school saying for sales, which is the what gives you squat, the why makes them buy.
Yes. Yes.
Stop talking about the what your product is. Talk about why it's going to help them, or talk about the customers, why they need it. So the what gives you squat, the why makes you buy. And I don't know if you know, but I like to rap. So when I do my events, I normally either open or I close. So I like my rhymes. Even doing the rhyme, I'm there.
I love it because I did see that on your website. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, what
a few years ago. But,
yeah. You know what? I haven't heard that saying for such a long time. That is a real throwback, but it's so good. That is something that should be up on the wall. On, before you go and write any sort of copy, before you have a conversation, the what
I love that.
What, the why makes them buy or helps them to buy.
Yeah. It's the reason why they're buying. It's the reason why we all want to buy. And it's also the reason why we end up spending more. So sometimes we'll go in there with what we really want, right?
Yes.
But then this need and desire gets higher and higher and higher. And then we start to justify why we like this product more or this service more. So, But again, as I said, for me, it's all about the integrity. It's not how can you sell them more, it's how can you sell them the right thing.
Yes.
Because if you get a happy customer that gets a result from your service or the product, the promise that it will be tenfold what you get in return. Mm-hmm. And we know the saying these days, which is what one happy customer tells 3 people, one angry customer tells 10. We've got the internet these days, and they don't just tell 10.
Yeah, exactly. They tell a whole lot
hundreds, thousands. I've got a video from I did an event and I ordered these beautiful bouquet of flowers. They were meant to turn up the day before the event. They turned up 2 days after the event. It was the last day of the event. Yep. And they were wilted. They weren't even the flowers that I purchased.
Oh my gosh.
And I did this Facebook Live and talked about these flowers. And apparently it's a chain of, I don't know what it's called. And it's got about 3,500 comments from florists. So when talk about, and not that I was just like so disappointed. I did not think that would go viral, that video. That was just me just having a whinge about these flowers that turn up to my event. And all these florists are going, this is why you got to buy from a proper florist, not some factory, blah, blah, blah. And
you would have copped it.
That just shows you, it's a happy customer. If you sell with integrity, and you can deliver on your promise, that customer will come back, or they'll bring the referrals, and then you can walk away and you can sleep at night and feel like you're a decent human being. It's getting rid of the ickiness of what selling used to be. That's old school selling is gone these days. It's just
definitely.
It's just not. It's not welcomed. It's not accepted. There's more women now opening businesses, and it's so much more aligned with how can you do ethical selling, how can you have more of a consultative type of sale. That's the stuff that I like to do, which is how do we really have a decent conversation. We're not just trying to pump something out.
Beautiful. So then how about the people that might have to be hiring people to do that for them? How can they instill that message and keep it there for those especially if the staff are not around them in a physical presence anymore, that they lose that energy of what that is.
I have trained, and this is not to blow my own trumpet, this is actually probably why I love female entrepreneurs now, more than just training staff. I've trained staff for 17 years, from corporates to small, medium businesses. The biggest mistake I see when it comes to a small business owner or, a multinational is that they expect their team to be able to sell without being trained.
Yes.
They assume that they'll just go, this is the product, They'll tell the features, they'll go red brain.
Yes.
And then they expect that's what's going to make them sell.
Yep.
And that's what's going to make them successful. And it's not. Selling it's an emotional journey, especially if you're doing sales full-time as an employee, because then you've got your targets and you've got someone on your back, and it's also nearly a different space that you can sell from sometimes. It's got a bit more fear-based to it.
It's exhausting.
But there's a saying from Zig Ziglar. I go back to the old days with some of these guys with their sayings, because why recreate the wheel when some of their sayings are just incredible. Yep. Zig Ziglar, he says, it's better to have your staff. It's better to train your staff and have them leave than to not train them and have them stay.
Yeah.
Now, many businesses, they'll get people on and they'll go, I'm so scared to train them. What if I train them and they leave? And you think, what if they stay?
I know.
And they're burning these amazing prospects, the amount of money that you're throwing into marketing. And it's quite interesting because people are happy to spend a shitload of money on marketing, but never invest themselves in how to convert the sale.
Yep.
But we have so many guys coming through our program that are web developers and website builders and Facebook marketers, because what they're wanting to do is to be able to help their clients, because their clients are putting all the pressure on them. They want the website to convert, but the website's just going to get the lead. If your customer has to have a conversation with you to buy, and if you've got a premium product, then that conversation has to be, it's a fine art. It's a skill, and selling is a skill, but it's not training your team and then, expect them to be able to sell really well. It's really quite hard. But again, the same thing is teaching behavior styles. It's one of the fastest things to do, because even if there's no structure there, they just understand, okay, so with me, I know that I'm a very fast person. I'm, like a wild child. If I walk into an accountant to share about my Convert Club program, I know that I cannot be faster. I'm not going to be fake. And this is the thing, we have to understand, we can't be fake. We just become ish. It means that I will be slower in my delivery. I will be more methodical in sharing about the program, because that person requires accuracy. I will use less rapport, because for them, less rapport is more. So I will never be a C behavior style, which is a very conservative person. I'll never be that. But I can be ish, C-ish. I can deliver the information slower. I can be more methodical. I can give more accuracy with things that they might want to know. They are generally more logically minded. So, at least I've got the skill there to be able to go, okay, they actually need more emotion. They need more green brain, because they're going to get bogged down with decision making. The more we go, and someone might be saying, well, why is it important to do green brain on your website or in your communication than red brain? Because it slows the buying decision making down. The longer it takes for a person to make a decision in purchasing, the more you'll lose the sale. So the ones that take a long time, I said before about the long time sorts, that's your S's and your C's. We need the skill set. We want them to give them the space to be able to make a decision. But if they were given the reins, they might try to make a decision in 3 months' time instead of 3 days' time or 3 weeks' time. So it's still having that skill to be able to move them through the process so that they're comfortable, but it's the ability on how you execute with your communication to get them there.
Yeah. And definitely then having the framework around that. So even if that's not necessarily, if you're not great at that, but have the framework, and at least to recognize the flags, and then to know what other flags to go for, would certainly help with that.
And one thing I do want to say is, not everyone's going to be a perfect customer. So take the brakes off thinking that you have to convert every single person you come across. For you, it's a matter of you qualifying just as much as they're qualifying you. And not everyone's going to be that perfect prospect. And I know the one time I did push a sale, it was my biggest nightmare customer I ever had. It was like the universe was telling me to walk away, but I felt pressured. This is when I was the employee. I felt pressured. And that was the most painful member. This was in a health club. Most painful member we've ever had in our life. And I thought, oh my gosh, why did I even try so hard? It was because I was so scared I wasn't going to get the sale. I'd get in trouble. It's like, just let your team know, or just take the brakes off yourself. You won't convert everyone. It's okay.
Yeah. And it is very much, I suppose, around the pick your battles and your wars. I've done it like with a different sort of heart sets, and because I can get stubborn, and I was like, I'm not gonna let this person go. I know that this is the right thing for this person, and end up going, that was a mistake. Like, that was a bit of a learning there, Sonia. When you're gonna learn.
With coaching, anything to do with coaching, if we've got coaches out there, or your client that you have needs to actually do the work.
Yes.
That you're the one that might present. So if it's a coach, or if it's a consultant of some side, that's really important that you do it's a reverse method where it's consultative. But at the end of the day, you want them to meet you halfway.
Yep.
Because that's also, really legitimately, you'll know that that person's going to show up and do the work as well. Because your representation is based on that, especially if you're a coach or a consultant, or anyone that's in any teaching side of things. It's that person has to meet you halfway, and that sale you definitely do not want to push. You don't want to push any sale anyway, but that's one where it's like, as much as you feel like they need it, sometimes there's a belief in that person's mind.
Yeah.
I can see that their clients have achieved it, but I don't know if I can. And until we can help them get through that belief, then, you're continually hitting that brick wall.
Yeah, exactly. And though you might come from a good intent, is it really worth it at the end of the day? Yeah, it's good, strong words there. And another thing that made me, one of the little sort of not pet peeve, but things that sometimes get me in and around a sales, and especially because I'm considering some of the listeners here, and especially if they're in the coaching space, is around contracts. A lot of people don't have enough in writing, and it's great to CY cover your ass or assets. CY. Great assets.
Love it.
But it's like, how much should you put in writing or shouldn't you put in writing? What's your beliefs around that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Contracts, yeah. And what would you recommend?
Look.
Have I opened a can of worms there?
Yes. I will just say this though, for now, with where we're at, because you might have a 12-month contract or a 3-month contract or whatever it might be. Yep. The word contract's a really scary word, especially for now. And let's just say you might want to be able to sell them the 12 months or the bigger program. But right now, and this is specifically for where we are with the coronavirus and everything that's going on, right now, many people just want the entree. They just want something just to get them going and not actually commit to the whole buffet. So it's do you need to even just now? And look, I'm a big believer in longevity, especially with coaching programs, because normally, it does sort of take a little bit just to get their momentum happening. Yeah. The results from the client. But do you have something that's more like the life raft, as what my good friend and past mentor Tucky Moore actually says, which is the life raft. I call it give them the buffet, give them just a little bit of entree, just get them started. So sometimes now it might be even looking at, you've got your contract there and the goal is to get them on the 12-month plan or whatever the longer term program is. But what's something right now that is easy for them to commit to, that's going to get them really fast results? So let's just say we've got Convert Club, which is a 12-month program, but we have Sales Accelerator. And the Sales Accelerator is just a quick 4-week program. And that 4-week program is designed to give them results, and everyone that goes through it gets their money back pretty much within the first 2 weeks of the training. And we get them started. And at the moment, that was part of the 12-month plan, where we're just saying, look, just even start with the Sales Accelerator. Just start with that, because some people right now, they just need money in their pocket. They need to know how to sell. They need to know how to sell online. They need to have the conversations. So let's just start with that. And then if they can see the value, the rest of it's going to sell themselves. But with your contracts, look, I've got very mixed reviews with it. The last very strong contract I had was for a mastermind program, and it came probably more from scarcity, where now I'm not as strong with contracts, because I feel like if we're with a client and we're working well, they will stay. Though if they're taking a spot, and this is the thing, because some people can only have a certain amount of people in a course or a program. So I had a high level mastermind program. We had different levels. The bottom level, we could have as many people as we want. But the top level, there was only 10 women. And we sell twice a year. And if we only sell twice a year, if some person takes that seat and then decides 2 months later that they don't want to continue, that's now a seat that somebody else could have taken. So we had a really strong contract for that one. Yeah. So look, I've got mixed reviews, and at the end of the day, if it's not a good marriage between you and the client, have leniency at the start, because you'll find out, you'll see it at the start. Our Convert Club, we have a 1 month just grace period to see if we actually are good together. Because sometimes you might not be the right coach. Sometimes you find that is the headache client, you know, and we are very transparent at the start. We say, we give you a month. It's a 12-month program. We give you a month to see if it's a match. You get to go in, you get to try it, experience it. You are a member from the start, but you've got 1 month to decide. And then if not, then we expect that commitment. So we're really clear about that. And I think that's what we want. I think anyone, it's about transparency. You know, you don't want any little hidden contracts. You know, everything's about transparency and trust.
Exactly.
Especially when you're coaching and with clients, like it's, you know, you can get pretty close with your clients. Like you can really learn a lot. You're learning so much when you're talking about business. You're talking about numbers and figures, and with women, one day it's talking about numbers, next minute it's like she can't stand the family. You know, it's like, you know, you learn so much about them. So I'd say, like, do you have like a cooling off period or something at the start, which is fair for both of you? I'm not just talking about the client, I'm talking about you as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. You know, it's really got a lot of maturity with what you said, and you know, it's fair for all sides. But yeah, I mean, who's to say that they are the right customer or client for you, or the right coach for you? And I think that it's all around negotiations. I'm very pro negotiations. I like to get into, you know, talk things through, because I'm very prescriptive. So I think, you know, it's a lot easier, because even if they don't become your client, they might be an advocate for you anyway.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And even with that same mindset, even with e-commerce, someone can still be an advocate with you if they've had a really good relationship and journey with you on purchasing from you. And so sales is a lot more than just a sale, and it's been absolutely lovely, all of the pearls of wisdoms and nuggets of gold that you've given us, and it's certainly something I know I could talk about for a long time, and I'm sure you could too. But we've probably been talking quite a lot, and there's quite a lot that people can rewind and listen to there, and I absolutely really loved that. What you ended off with was beautiful. So awesome. With that in mind, then, so what would be on the horizon for you into 2020?
Well, the horizon did change, like everybody. So right now we're meant to be touring Australia. That's not happening. And I do have an event called Magnificence that was meant to be in October. That is on hold. So, you know, the beautiful thing about what's happened is we've learned to do online events. And we've got a very big one coming up in 2 weeks, depending on when this airs. If anyone gets to, it's called Convert, and that's convertsales.com.au. And that's our event that we normally just travel around, and it's honestly, it is content rich information. You can walk away from that and just thing, and it's a free event. So most people go, oh, it's a free event, you know, they're going to try and sell hard to me. Is it going to be? I'm telling you, the content, and whenever we get feedback, it continually says, we cannot believe how much we've learned, and it's free. Because for us, we want to be able to showcase what we do, and then if people want to continue the journey, they can. But yeah, and then it's magnificence. For me, my passion is female empowerment. It's helping us be the best version of ourselves. And when we put business, you know, in our lives, it's not the balance, it's how to create the harmony. And sometimes we lose touch with just really our own peak performance. So for me, that's a completely different event. It's an event based on female empowerment and them working out what's called their M code, their magnificence code. Everyone's got their own. You just got to work it out. And then when you got those off days and off weeks, it's how do you put yourself back into line. So yes, that's on the horizon. Don't know when that's going to be now. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll still put the URL at the bottom of this web page, and I'll let people sort that out with you then.
Yeah, but you know, let's give them the gift, because that sales DNA stuff. We've talked so much about behavior styles.
Yep.
That's
going to help.
And there's so many different behavior style models out there.
Yep.
But they all come from the Disc and Myers-Briggs.
Yep.
Myers-Briggs has 16 different ones. The Disc is 4, easier to grab the concept. And that's AnnetteLakovich.com/sales DNA. So I'll give you that link as well.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, and that one, they can just do their own little profile. They can work it out and then hit enter and then find out what the behavior style is and get a downloadable. They can read and have a bit of a laugh at their own behavior style. How they are at selling, that is. It's based on sales.
How do you sell the kids into doing the dishes and cleaning their bedroom? And that's what they can do.
I love that. I knew even your mummy manual for that one. Yeah.
You could, you know, and how to sell your husband,
DNA
buying you another ring.
It's really quite interesting how many women actually their D goes up at home, because you can do that quiz, and if you are going to do the quiz, do it twice. Do it once based on how you are at home in your home life and how you are with your business.
Yeah.
Quite interesting to see women the D comes up at home a lot. A lot of the mothers. It's more the mothers. So
once you've had the kids and you go, I'm okay. I'm over this now. I'm not going to be nice anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Hurry up.
And if you're single, it's doing that quiz on how you are with the people that you mostly with. It's like your social life, like who are the people you're most comfortable with, and that's what we call your home life. Yeah. So if you're single and you go, oh, I've got no one I'm living with at home, it still is done, but it's just who you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I like
natural style.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Lovely.
Awesome.
Oh, so wonderful.
Thanks so much.
so much for your time today and sharing your expertise with all the people that are listening. Gosh, they're really going to, do wonders with your information. So, thank you on behalf of them. Beautiful. And thank you on behalf of me.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Okay. So great to be here today.
Lovely. Okay, we'll say bye-bye. See you.
Bye.